Have to worry about. We will be going underway for our final match of the day. So we do have Eddie from Hardcore Power Drivers, Nevermind of Molotovs and Marshmallows, Cappuccino of Gamers Origins, and Speedy of Molotovs and Marshmallows. They will be playing first of all on Cold Sweat by Santana, followed up by Sin City by MD Point, Makes You Think by Thompson, Kids in Love from Wally, and Toxic from I was tempted to say Britney Spears again. Toxic from Bastamon. So, what would you say we'd really have to expect from this match, do you think, Marius?
Yeah, I already said it in the...
Oh, did I miss that?
Earlier, yeah, a few minutes or seconds ago, that I think that Cup will, in the end, take it like the swap also says, and Speedy second, but we don't know. It might still be a very close match here. I didn't see those players on these maps, so I don't know, but I think that Cap is the main favorite. He's pretty experienced player in Cup mode. He played a lot of LANs already, so I think that he will make it, but we'll see.
A very strong kind of pick there to go for Coco, but in the same sense, Cap, pardon me, but in the same sense, you know, as we have seen some upsets already. Look to see how prepared Cap is. Of course, he did have a very tough first match of which he had to go through, if I remember correctly. He was against... well, we'll check that out later. So anyway, we go into round number 1 of Cold Sweat. We'll start it off with Speedy of Team Molotovs and Marshmallows, one of the 2 players representing their organisation in this match. You see Speedy gets a bit of a gear down there, and Eddie taking the lead in this round, but going over that, looked to cut the jump there, went up on 2 wheels and was a bit too shaky on the landing, so did touch on the left hand side. So now Nevermind has taken charge of the round, and we see here Nevermind being overtaken by Cap now though, and Speedy, so problems for Nevermind in this round. However, Cap going for a very wide line going through there. Speedy getting a lot of speed, so much it needs to go outside pole. Andy is catching up on Cap. Can he overtake him though? That is the next step. Eddie's falling further behind. Nevermind looking to get back into the party, but he goes too close to the inside there. Does crash and is out of the round. So Speedy and Cap coming up to the end. Speedy manages to get himself in, no problem, for 105.040. Taking the first 10 points. Cap second, 6 points. Nevermind 4 points, and Eddie starting off badly. But yeah, Cap's first round was against Mass and Pack, so it's hardly a bad thing that he's down in the lower bracket.
Yeah, that's a match where you can get third. So, yeah, next round is starting. Eddie without any points, so hopefully he can gain some points now. We didn't see any player using bonus points, but I think they all were not in the top 8, so yeah. Makes sense, but we saw Cup now with a huge mistake. He can't finish this round. He's out of that. Speedy takes the lead and might win 2 times in a row, but he still has one guy to fight with, which is Eddie, who drove a totally different line. Inside approach, but then no speed at the exit, but it was like equally fast in the end. But now Speedy got a bigger advantage over Eddie. Let's see this left-hander. Speedy extending his lead a bit over the next drop. It looks good for Speedy, who might take the second win in a row here. Just a finished jump remaining, and he jumps high enough. Also Eddie makes it, and third place goes to Nevermind. If he makes it, oh no, he failed, so he can't finish, and the same goes for Cap. So only 2 finishes on this round. It really seems to be the most difficult map from the matches I saw now.
It's funny, like you look at the points and it's 20, and then second place is 6. So definitely not a good start for anyone else that's not called Speedy. So we'll watch Nevermind at the moment, who has got the short end of the stick and is sitting on 4 points at the moment. do see here that he is up with his teammate Speedy, who actually does drop down just as I say that, so slight caster's curse there. So Nevermind, however, is in the lead at the moment with a strong advantage over Eddie, who is his closest opponent, which was 0.2 behind, but I believe Speedy has now overtaken him, so we'll look from Speedy's perspective. Eddie tried to catch up there, tried to go inside, but he did get a massive crash there, and he might not even be able to finish this round again. Cappuccino's even further behind, so both players are 5 seconds behind, so not good for those other two. Nevermind gets a no drift going through that corner, so it's going to be 3 wins in a row for Speedy, getting himself off to the best possible start. Of course, this man doesn't need no bonus points when his opponents are gifting him rounds like this, Marius. I mean, 104.8 by Speedy to take home the 10 points, and Nevermind the closest with a 106, and Cap and Eddie barely finishing at all.
Well, Speedy is the only one who makes no mistakes, and no mistakes on this map means regular wins in the end. So yeah, we saw a lot of good points for M&M players here actually on this track. Also in the previous match, they scored pretty well here. Yeah, there's a huge gap now between Speedy and the other players. It's still extending. 20 points already after just 3 rounds. That's crazy. And we see Eddie with a big mistake already. So he finds himself 1.6 seconds behind the other 3 players. But this time Speedy doesn't get an easy win, until now at least. Oh, huge crashes. Nevermind on his roof. Speedy now also crashed. Gets overtaken by Eddie, who comes back to 2nd place actually, and now Cap has the easy task of just finishing and getting the 10 points. Interesting rounds here on this track, lots of mistakes. So this time Cap will take the 10 points, and that will put him on 2nd place in the total standings. Getting a good lead now of 5 points over Eddie on 3rd place.
Yeah, I mean, like, there was just a kind of story of that map, was just a lot of mistakes, but interestingly that looks to be the map of which we will end on, so that'll be certainly interesting. So going forward, onto the 2nd map, which is Sin City by MD Point, of which, as we said, Speedy will be entering into this, the 2nd map with a 16-point lead, which is really, really good for Speedy, and as well, even further than that, a 19-point lead over the closest, which would be the 3rd place, pardon me. So, because basically, out with seedings, the players simply need to worry about qualifying for the later stages, which they only need the top 2 for. Of course, first may get them a better seed for it, but at the same time, you know, you just want to make sure that you're through first of all. But Nevermind, we have some very good rounds, but not very good maps, which is my concern with Nevermind. He needs to get some consistency going, or something like that. But hopefully this is a turnaround map for some players. Hopefully we see Eddie getting a performance, and Nevermind turning in some good rounds, I think. Oh, Nevermind, not really.
Yeah. The warm-up looked quite good for Nevermind until this last part.
Yeah.
But it would have been a good time. But he of course has to drive consistent as well.
Yeah.
We'll see how he performs now.
So here we go. Warm-up ending, match starting on map number 2. We will focus on the French Hope Cappuccino of Gamers Origin. We'll be playing at Gamers Assembly going forward, so an interesting thing to take into account is perhaps Cap's increased training on these maps as a result of his participation on Gamers Assembly, if that was a factor at all, since the other players are not participating. And Nevermind doesn't look to be participating in this round, as he is very far behind here at the moment. However, we are seeing Cap and Eddie fighting for the top positions here, and Speedy not too far behind either. So where is Speedy? He is about 0.3 behind here at the moment, looking to come back towards Eddie and Cap, as they are the 2 players closest behind them. But and could cost Speedy a lot of his gap if he's to only settle for third position here, so he'll be looking for an extra position. He should know that Nevermind's quite far behind him, but it doesn't look like they're making mistakes here. He might catch Eddie in the end though. Oh, Cap slowing down a lot at the end. Cap crashes full on the inside, and Eddie does manage to take the first place, so great 10 points there for Eddie. And then Cap had to settle for third place there. Nevermind not getting any points, and he's still on 10 points, but Cap applies for a break.
Wow. Yeah, but he's writing it's about FPS. But I think Carl Jr. did a break at the same map. I think.
Would you say this is more a kind of momentum thing or a mindset thing, or do you think he's just, I don't know, go to the toilet or something?
Well, in this case, it seems he got some lags or something, or bad FPS, and yeah, then it's of course sensible to just wait a bit, and maybe it gets better afterwards. Of course, the last round was pretty, unlucky for Cup. He had a safe win, actually, and instead of 10 points, he got only 4, and Eddie got instead the 10 points and overtook him. It could have been so much different, actually. But yeah, now Eddie is second. He got a win. That was important for him. And yeah, for Nevermind, it really looks grim. Maybe he can perform well on Makes You Think, where he started very well in the last match from the winner bracket. But of course, this can't be the only map where he has to get points. There need to be also some other maps where he has to perform if he wants to get second here.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, even if he's only got certain maps where he is putting in a performance, 10 points in 5 rounds really isn't good enough at this level. It's not just a reflection of maybe he's not going as fast. It's also the fact that he's not going as fast, but he's not finishing rounds, which is really important as well. So he needs to kind of refocus, make sure that he's taking this break that Cap is using to help himself get the zone back in as well, and make sure he starts getting these rounds consistently. So Eddie, I'm sure, will be happy with the 10 points he got from there. He's only 15 points behind Speedy. Here we go for round number 2. Focus on Eddie this time, see what he can do. Big mistake early on for Eddie, and another one, so not a good start to round 2 of Sin City by Eddie. Speedy making a big mistake as well, so only Cap and Nevermind left. However, this is Nevermind's prime opportunity. Might not gain points on Cap, but he'll definitely gain points on Eddie if it keeps going like this. Taking a lot of speed through there, so needs to scrub a lot to make sure he stays on the track. And Cap is right next to him here, going for this long left on the downhill. He's battling very hard with Cap at the moment. He does have a slight advantage due to his line here. Cap going for it though. Cap ain't taking no prisoners. He doesn't care how far Nevermind is behind in points. He's going for it. Will he get the final turn through? No problem. He didn't leave himself a lot of room there. Nevermind, a lot of speed, but not close enough. 10 points for Cap, 6 for Nevermind, 4 for Speedy, and 3 for Eddie. He does eventually manage to finish, but only by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah, very good last turn by Nevermind. Very risky. He made it to the finish, but it was not enough to take the 10 points. Important round for Cap. Eddie scored very low points, so Cap moves to second place again, and Speedy is losing some of his lead. He began very good with 3 wins, but since then he only scored 14 points. And the other players who got some wins come, of course, closer to him again. So this round we see Eddie failing on the last position. He already was on last place, but now he's basically out of the round. Speedy is on third, still able maybe to catch up to Nevermind and Cap, but at the moment it seems that we get the same fight like last round, but this time Nevermind got some advantage here, and they are not side by side. So Nevermind maybe take the win here. Speedy comes closer to Cap actually. Maybe he can do something. Oh, Nevermind with a no slide, so he falls back to third place and Cap takes the win, Speedy second. Unlucky for Nevermind. There was the chance of 10 points to get some kind of closer to the other guys, but now he's falling behind even more.
Yeah, he's only down. At least he's getting the finishes in. I suppose that's one way to look at it. I mean, but still 20 points. If we want to do a lot better than that, an average of 10 points a map almost. But Speedy, at least his teammate is up at the top on 50 points, but the gap is being closed. It is 6 points between Speedy and Cap here at the moment. Eddie's fallen back a lot in these recent rounds. He is now 13 points behind Cappuccino at the moment. So let's see what Eddie can do, if anything. Of course, Nevermind has a much rougher road to recovery, but not an impossible one. See Cap going too high up there on that little kind of ramp section, going down into the left-hander, and he kind of board slides straight off as if he was in Tony Hawk's, but it's the wrong game for that, I'm afraid, and he is not getting any points unless he finishes rather promptly. But we do have the two M&M guys fighting for the top positions. Looks as if Nevermind has extended the lead substantially. 0.2 of a second here. And Eddie 0.2 further back. And it looks as if he will finish in these positions. Speedy going for it though. Will he get over Nevermind? He won't. Only 3 or 4, the 300ths of a second between the two teammates there. But they do keep the positions there. And Nevermind for much needed 10 points. Now only 5 points behind Eddie. 17 points behind Cappuccino.
So now we come to the next map, Makes You Think by Thompson, and this is maybe the map where Nevermind can overtake Eddie and get closer to Cap. Probably has to score well here. He did a great performance in his winner bracket match, so let's see how he can do it this time. We definitely would need this performance again. Speedy is still with a good lead here over Cap. So I'm not sure how these players performed in their first map, the other 3 players. I know that Nevermind was good here. Didn't see how Eddie, Cap and Speedy actually were driving here.
Let me see. So Makes You Think Cap only managed 104, which really isn't that great. Quite a slow average it must be for him, but of course he was going up against very strong opposition, so I can understand perhaps if he felt the need to risk. Nevermind actually done pretty well. He got 2 104s. Managed to get a 10 pointer against Carl, Revo and Tween, which is certainly no mean feat. Eddie, let's see. Eddie done okay. He got a 104.6, a 104.8, so not too bad from him either. And Speedy, how did Speedy do? Yeah, Speedy done really well actually. He got 3 104s and a 105 low, so be expecting good things from Speedy here. So I'm going to take a look at him first of all with round number 1 on Makes You Think. So here we go. Speedy taking us through the early start here. Cap went for a really kind of inside drift there. It worked out for him though, and he is still near the front. Speedy goes a bit wide there though. But we'll look to see what kind of time he can end up the round with. Keep himself in contention for the good positions by counting on the other players' mistakes, as we have seen quite a few of them throughout this match. So if we fast forward a bit to Cappuccino. We look forward up the track here, so he goes a bit wide there, had to release slightly, and Nevermind does take the lead. So, well, Nevermind keep the lead is a question. Cap certainly won't keep second place. He is all the way down in last position and only just makes a jump there. A little trickster there landing on the block to make sure that he got the full gap. But now Nevermind with a nice healthy lead, but Eddie and Speedy are fighting for second place. Nevermind fails the end. So who's it going to be? Is it going to be Eddie or Speedy? Eddie risks it and it pays off. So 10 points for Eddie, 6 for Speedy, 4 for Nevermind, 3 for Cap, but a very costly mistake by Nevermind.
Yeah, definitely very unnecessary mistake. He was so far in the lead actually. And yeah, it was another opportunity to get the 10 points easily and he threw it away. That looks not good for him now, but he's still not out of this match of course. Anyway, there was more possible for him. It was a close round for a long time, so we see the players are on a pretty equal level. Eddie takes the win, which is also nice for him. He got close to Cap now again. He crashed in the middle part of the map. So this round is also still very close. No mistakes so far, only Speedy is a bit behind, 2/10 behind the other 3 players, but they are still side by side, battling it out. It seems like everyone is going for the inside pull in this match. And Cup again loses some time here. He will make the jump easily, but he still loses some time in this turn. So he falls back to Speedy in the fight with Speedy, and Eddie with a mistake. Also Nevermind with a mistake. So Speedy and Cap now fighting for the first and second place, and Speedy probably takes first if he makes the finish jump. Oh, he stumbles a lot and can't make the finish jump. So Cap is getting first and Speedy is on his roof. Can't finish. Wow. That is so unlucky now. Instead of 10 points, he gets 0. Cap gets 10 points instead of 6. Great news for Cap, of course. Unlucky for Speedy. His lead is gone.
Yeah, his lead is gone, and it looked as if he had the right line for that. It's just his car started like just bouncing as if he was going across a rallycross track, but
yeah,
very, very unlucky there for Speedy. As you said, his gap is now down to 2 points, and Eddie, who would be looking to regain some lost points to Cap, has already failed in this round. So Nevermind, however, who is at the bottom in points, is at the top in this round, 13 hundredths ahead of Speedy at the moment. So you're going to see Speedy, if he manages to hunt him down. Only the M&M players remaining unscathed. We have no players, so no other of the players managed to make it through without crashing. Cap 1.1 down and Eddie 2.2. So Nevermind looking for 10 points here. Will bring him much closer to Eddie here, and even Cap, with Cap getting a low finish as well. But we've seen him have trouble with this end before, Speedy as well. So how will it treat them? They both get through it, no problem, with some mid 104s to take the 10 and 6 positions. So 10 and 6 points. And Eddie getting 4, but Cap didn't finish at all. So that brings Nevermind within 10 points of him. Eddie within 7 points of him.
Yeah, and we see Nevermind is actually really doing well on this track again, but 2 of the 3 rounds he made crashes in the end. Only now he got the win, but it was an important win, and we saw Eddie meanwhile with a crash at the start. He's already 2 seconds behind. Yeah, but let's see, Nevermind maybe can get another win here. He's really doing well. He manages to survive without any mistakes, of course. So, but this time we got Cap fighting with him, and Speedy again with, yeah, a kind of little bit disadvantage. Oh, Nevermind flies him up to the sky. Holy fuck! So he clips the edge and he's, yeah, going away. He can't finish. Unlucky for him. So all chances are now over. Also for Speedy in this round, in the fight for first place, and another crash. But Eddie also must have crashed, because he can't overtake Speedy here. Eddie's 5 seconds behind. It will be close for him to finish. So Cap now has it easy. Will he do the finish jump? Yes, he does. Speedy gets second and Eddie gets third place. Yeah, Nevermind without any points. Meaning that Cap and Speedy now close again in the point standings. Eddie and Nevermind a bit behind.
It's almost back to normal again now, like, you know, Speedy and Cap a bit further in front and Eddie and Nevermind a bit further behind. They had a little resurgence there, but it just wasn't enough. They needed to keep it going, but now we move on to Kids in Love. So this has been a very interesting map. We've seen quite a few mistakes being made by kind of all levels of players so far in this playoffs tournament. So it'll be interesting to see who really takes the advantage going through this map. I'd expect Eddie really needs to get his game face on, so to speak. He really needs to start focusing once again and get himself back on the route towards first position, or second position at least, as I'm sure he'll be happy with. But he needs to be getting some good rounds in. He's crashing far too much and far too early. He's not putting any pressure on his opponents whatsoever. But we will have this, of course, being on map number 3, I believe. No, sorry, map number 4, pardon me. Last map of the cycle will be Toxic, so we will be rounding it off with GA maps. These maps you will be able to find in the upcoming Gamers Assembly Tournament, which will be hosted in Poitiers. That will be 2 weeks from now. It will start on the Saturday. I believe it will be starting relatively early on, 2 or 3 in the afternoon, much as the same as this. But there we go, round 1 about to start on Kids in Love.
So let's see how they will do on this map. Currently we are at the no-slide start, so nothing really happened, nothing major. Oh, well, wait. Speedy crashed. So he's basically out of it already. Can't win this round, probably. At the top we see Cap leading the pack in front of Eddie, and also Nevermind did a crash already. Also Eddie now with a mistake, so yeah. It was just like 10 seconds where the players were close, and now there are big distances. The closest fight is for second place here between Nevermind and Eddie. This is not decided yet. Cap basically only has to save it until the finish line. So Nevermind is now taking second place over Eddie. That's the inside line here, but not more speed, so it's just one turn left, one hairpin, and Eddie crashes. Will Speedy maybe catch up? No, Speedy can't even finish. So Cap takes first, Nevermind takes second place, and Eddie, will he finish? Yes, he will. Third place for him. And yeah, now Speedy lost his first place in the overall standings.
So, Eddie with the little tricksters there actually went in the safe finish but bounced over the injure off. And before next gen cuts on Kids in Love. But starting off very badly for 2 out of 4 players. After we said that the finish wasn't as the start wasn't as eventful, it's claimed 4 players in 2 rounds. So we have Speedy falling down already once again, Cappuccino falling down, and Eddie making a slight blunder here, or at least Nevermind's off to a blistering start otherwise. But here we go, so Nevermind in the lead currently by quite some distance, by about 0.2 of a second, but this is the kind of place where Eddie can start catching up. 0.15 now. And it's slowly going downwards, maybe a bit faster now. Eddie going for a bit more of an outside line there. Very close to the CP were both the players there. He went really close to the inside as well, did Eddie, but as a result he's lost speed. And Nevermind gets a lot more of an exit speed from there. Eddie might need to save finish, of which he will, just to make sure. Nevermind takes the 10 points for 105.4. Eddie second, Cap third, and Speedy fourth, of which Speedy is now calling the second tactical timeout of the match. So that leaves us on going into round number 3 of Kids in Love with Cap on 84, Speedy on 77, Eddie on 67, and Nevermind on 66. So would you have said this would have been a good time for Speedy to have called his tactical timeout?
Yeah, definitely. He was having a lot of bad laps now in a row. He crashed basically every single lap, and falling back in the total standings, lost his lead. Now he's already 7 points behind, and Eddie Nevermind are also just 10 points behind him now. Of course, the last round was like perfect for Eddie Nevermind. The top 2 players crashed and they scored the big points. Nevermind got the win, so he's back in the game. And yeah, it seemed to be an easy victory for Speedy on the first map, as he had such a big distance already. But now it seems to be, yeah, a really close fight between all players, because all 4 players are within 18 points.
It'll be interesting, especially going back to the first map, depending on how the points go, since Speedy had such a massive advantage on that. But maybe that was just the players not being warm on the maps, not being fully prepared, of course, since they've had quite a break since their first match. So maybe that's a factor which has played into the hands of not being as ready on these maps. But certainly we'd be expecting better things from the other players going forward, or at least if they know they're bad at it, that they'll try and get to finalist mode as quickly as possible then. So I suppose that's a tactic then, just, you know, Cap just risking every round in hopes he wins so he doesn't have to go back to the first map and just hope that works. I mean, that's one way to do it, I suppose. I guess not the way you'd recommend though.
Yeah. True.
That is a tactical break over. We'll be heading over to round number 3 here, and we will be going back in with Nevermind. Once we find him, there he is. So he is currently bottom in points, but only by 1. Needs another 11 points to get himself up to the upper bracket slots. Of course, again, top 2 of this match will proceed further in the tournament to the lower bracket round 2, which will be played tomorrow. The bottom 2 will be eliminated. I'd say sent home, but this is played online. Everyone is home. So, Cappuccino in first place here at the moment. Eddie was in second there, but it looks as if he had a bit of a problem with his gear or his angle going there, and he is out of the round. He will get 0 points from here. Cappuccino's made a mistake as well. He's not got as solid as a lead as he would have previously, and Nevermind now overtakes. So where's Speedy? Speedy's diving in the inside. They're trying to keep Nevermind at bay and trying to keep Cat behind him, but Speedy goes a bit too close to the outside there, does crash. Cat will overtake him, but Nevermind will get a much needed 10 points here. So Speedy with that tactical break, it didn't work as well as he planned. He still makes another big mistake here. 10 points though for Nevermind for 105.9, which really aren't the best times you'd be expecting on these maps, but again, Nevermind will take it any day of the week, I'm sure. On to round number 4.
Yeah, Nevermind coming closer to Speedy here in the total standings. Who would have thought that after the first maps? But he's really getting better now in the match, and he finds himself again in the lead in this round, and Speedy on last position. But here Nevermind drops in speed and loses some positions. Eddie now crashed against the pole and against another wall, so this is so costly. He will not finish this round. That's not good for him because he's already last in the points. Cap, however, is in the lead. Speedy on second place. So Cap can maybe extend his lead, and now it looks to be the dominant match that we maybe would have expected, but it didn't look like that for a long time. But now he scores some more 10-pointers and will move to 100 in points if he survives this finish, but it looks good. Yes, also Speedy makes it. So second place for Speedy, 4 points for Nevermind. And Eddie can't finish, and he's probably now out of the match. Who knows? Maybe he can come back, but it requires some good rounds now on the next map.
Yeah, and Toxic's the one coming up by Bastamon. I mean, Eddie's certainly a capable player. I just think he is his own worst enemy at the moment. He's got the pace, and you can see snippets of it here and there when he's still around the other players, but he's just making far too many mistakes at the moment. I mean, I've been in Eddie's shoes. I certainly know how he can feel. You know, having made a lot of mistakes, it kind of feels like a hole that is very difficult to get out of, but you just kind of need to take one round at a time, as the saying goes. You'll hear from so many different people, but it really is true. I would suggest him, if he has another bad round again, to use his tactical timeout and just you know, maybe take his headset off, put the controller down, whatever, and just take a breather. You know, just refocus. And like I've said as so many times so far, get in the zone. Make sure that his head is in the right place. Make sure he's not getting overly affected by this. He's not getting too angry because he's crashing. You know, things like that. Warm up at least it was good for him though, if nothing else.
Can you repeat again, how often can you use this tactical breakout? One time per match or one time in the whole
one
playoffs?
time per match.
Wow. Okay.
Perhaps a bit underutilised by the players, but if they don't want to use it, it's up to them. Some players will prefer to just grin and bear it, but we do start off round number 1 on Toxic, and let's check out the man himself. Eddie, let's see what he can do here. Bit of a wide start for him, but it is successful, as he now takes over first position with a good line going down into this drop as well. Cappuccino's claimed by that very same drop. Bit too close to the left. Nevermind is far behind as well. Cap is turtling, except he ain't going nowhere. And he's getting 0 points from this. This is a great opportunity for Eddie and Speedy to get themselves back into the top points positions. Eddie has a healthy lead here at the moment. He can afford to save a little bit more. Speedy, half a second behind him, is his closest opponent, so an easy round here for Eddie if he makes it so. Speedy as well will be licking his lips at the potential points. He is able to catch up on Cap and extend over Nevermind, so Eddie really needs to stay in front of Speedy here. Just a safe end and he'll be fine. Nice and inside, and he gets himself through, no problem. So 10 points for Eddie, 6 for Speedy, and none for anyone else. So great news there for Eddie at the very least. Of course, he'd probably preferred Speedy didn't finish either, I guess, but anyway, he is on 77 points now.
Yeah, very good round for Eddie. And yeah, it seems that in this match many people are really struggling with this map. So let's see, next round we see all players made the start without problem. Now comes the first crucial point in this map, and we see one big mistake by Nevermind. Well, he will still be able to finish if it will be his only mistake in this round. Let's go back to the top. Speedy and Eddie are still fighting, but Eddie jumps too much to the inside and makes a mistake that leaves Speedy now with Cap in the lead. So the top 2 players of the overall standings will advance their lead again after this round. And Speedy maybe can catch up to Cap again if he stays in front of him and wins this round. Still, Cap is only 2/10 behind, but we only have one single turn remaining, so Speedy can basically save it now and jumps into the finish, gets the 10 points. Good round for Cap and Speedy, extending their gap to Nevermind and Eddie in the total standings again.
Eddie at least did manage to finish there, but Nevermind, for whatever reason, after he made that mistake, it just went downhill from there. So now Eddie on 81 compared to Speedy on 103. It's getting a bit more of a kind of question, is it possible, as we get closer and closer to the finalist modes here. But it's not over till it's over. Certainly, as again, Eddie and Nevermind have shown they're very capable on these maps, but we need to be seeing more from them. Speedy, however, up in the lead. Cat is far at the back. Speedy's lost speed though, ironically, and he fails on the rooftop block, so he goes down to 3rd position. Nevermind's already made a big mistake, so damage limitation at least for Speedy. It won't be down to last, but this is Eddie's golden opportunity here. He couldn't ask for a better chance than this to get himself in a good position going forward. If he wins this, this will bring him up to 91 points. And as well, we have Cap though challenging him for this position. Cap's very close here. He didn't get airtime, did Cap, so he might have more speed here. Cap's risking it. Eddie has a more inside line here though, and Eddie takes it with a 105.9, so 10 points for Eddie up to 91. And Cap brings himself onto 112 points. So Eddie is now within 12 points of Speedy, but Speedy's still within 9 of Cap.
We have an incredible amount of no finishes in this match.
Yeah.
Actually. So if Cap wins this round, then he will move to finalist status. Other players of course want to deny him this, but he will most likely be the first guy to reach finalist. So let's see. Nevermind with mistake here. He drops down. He's also now last in the total standings again, after Eddie made a kind of comeback in the previous round. So Cap is still in the lead, looking to score the 10-pointer and get finalist. And Eddie and Speedy have a very close fight behind him for the 6 points in this round. And yeah, now Eddie seems to be really good on this track. Yes, many good laps. But yeah, Cap got his aim, he got the 10 points, got a finalist, and Eddie comes a little bit closer to Speedy. Now it's just 10 points between those two guys. And Nevermind can't finish and falls back even more.
But now we go back to the map we started this all on, the map that finished with Speedy on 30 points and everyone else on like 10. So, I mean, this can really be a game changer for this. Of course, if Cap has the same performance that he did last time on this map, Speedy might just clean sweep the top position. But will we see people getting their act together on this, getting some good times down and regaining their ability on this map, or will we see more of the same? Speedy, I'm sure, will hope for more of the same. I say that as it crashes twice. So this can potentially be the final map of today's, or of day one, Trackmania Pro League playoffs.
Yeah, regarding Speedy's performance here, when we played this map the first time, it might happen that this map will be the last map. Because first time we played it, we saw 3 wins by Speedy and 1 win by Cap, so if that happens again, then both will come through, definitely. We saw a lot of crashes as well, so it might change a lot if Nevermind and Eddie manages to no crash now some rounds.
Yeah, I mean, it very much depends on what they actually manage to do. But we will see in round number 1. Of course, I'm going to focus on Cap this round since he is the man to watch. He is the finalist on his first attempt here, and he makes a mistake in the first corner. So a bit of an anticlimactic round there for Cap. But I suppose that is the way it goes sometimes. And now, Eddie having a big mistake going through there as well. So already we're looking like more of the same here. Nevermind is down as well. So only Cap's now up to second. So I mean, Speedy makes a mistake, and we might actually be seeing an earlier end to the battle for first place than we expected. But certainly not the performances we hoped for from these players. Ooh. That was really close by Speedy and definitely too close there by Cap. Again, looks like Nevermind can't finish though, but Speedy up in first here. A very healthy lead over Eddie. Eddie's not close enough to really make much of a difference to it. And Speedy will bring himself up to 117 points with this win.
Oh, Eddie with a mistake.
Oh, Eddie, will Cap get him though? Speedy manages to get through no problem, and Cap just snipes Eddie at the end. So denying even more points for Eddie. I mean, Eddie's not too far away, but that definitely might have dealt him just quite a small blow, but a blow nonetheless.
Yeah, it didn't help, actually. Now Speedy only has to finish to get finalist, but of course he still wants to deny Cap the win. It really seems to be a good bet for Speedy. Again, a first place here. And again, we saw huge crashes by all other players, and it was basically a pretty easy first place. So now Cap is really going for it. You saw the ramp trick he got in the jump, and he has a 3/10 lead over Speedy. So this is a very good round so far by Cap, and yeah. Then he gets the nose slide and makes the full stopping into the pole. Wow. Yeah, he went so risky in this round, but no slide is no slide. Not always because of risk, but yeah, anyway, Speedy takes over the lead again. We see also Nevermind crashed hard. So it's just Eddie versus Speedy. Again, Speedy with the lead. Will Eddie this time crash again, or will he survive? I think he will survive this time. But yeah, Speedy takes another victory here, and now he's also finalist. And well, regarding his performance on this map, I really think that he will win it now, but who knows?
Yeah, potentially only 2 rounds remaining though, but the longer this has went on... Wait, what happened there? Someone just went straight forward. And Cap is not driving, Nevermind is not driving, and only Eddie and Speedy are driving, so The rules do say, as far as I'm aware, that that as long as the round has started and the players haven't disconnected, that the round must continue to go on. So Eddie and Speedy will do battle here. Speedy does have the advantage here at the moment of 0.5 of a second. And Speedy looking to extend his advantage here, but Eddie's not letting him out of his sight. So Speedy up at the top. But Eddie is chasing him down. Okay, so end round we decided to do. Anyway, round number 3, we'll have that restarted. So will we see a bit of a resurgence here? Will we see Cap using this opportunity that he has been given? Or will we see him no sliding into a pole again? No, we see him just crashing into a wall, unfortunately for him. So, Nevermind, oh, it doesn't look like he's going to have any impact on this round whatsoever, but I'm sure Eddie will take this new round. Of course, him now with a 0.2 advantage over Speedy this time. Speedy going for the inside line, taking as much speed as he can through it, but Eddie, of course, with the outside will take more. And Eddie gets the crash going through the inside, so now it is all in Speedy's hands. All he needs to do is save the remainder. Not too much though, because Eddie is 0.25 behind. Getting closer, 0.15 behind now is Eddie. Whoa, it's 0.5 of a second now. Can Speedy resist Eddie's final charge here? Or will it be game over for the fight for first place? Eddie has to go for the safe finish. Speedy gets first place though and secures it with a 105.060. So GG for first position. Eddie up to 113 points now within one round of finalist, but Cap on his next attempt at finalist.
Yeah, great performance by Speedy. Of course, he's a bit lucky about a map order, that this map was played twice now and was also the deciding map, but he played here really consistent and deserved the win. Cap got some pet issues. I hope that he's was able to solve them. It seems like he solved them actually, because he's at the top in the fight with Nevermind, but there he crashes. So Cap is well, also feeling the pressure maybe, or it's just a map that he can't play consistently. That means that if Eddie now wins this round, if he somehow overtakes Nevermind and he is finalist, then suddenly we have a fight between Cap and Eddie. And we had a huge gap between those two guys in the points a few rounds ago, but yeah, this is finalist mode, and Cap was not able to finish it out here. Of course, Eddie can thank Speedy for that. Anyway, now Cap can thank Nevermind not. Oh god, what are they doing?
Wait, oh, no way.
We got a 3DNF. Nevermind is trying the bug. What is Eddie doing?
Can none of them get to the safe finish? Oh my god.
It was a chance for Cap. Just continue driving. Oh my god.
Oh no. Eddie tried to go for the safe finish as well, and he got caught on the outside of it and flipped over the edge. Oh man. Round number... that means we'll have another round on this map.
Yeah. Oh, never mind. What a big crash.
So now can Cap finally close it out here after this almost circus of a map? Or will Eddie deny it even further and Cap gets to the other side? Could this get any more comical? Oh, Eddie, all he needs to do is save the remainder of this round. He has probably a 3 to 4 second advantage here, and he will bring himself up to a finalist mode. And one of the weirdest ends to a Pro League match I think I've seen in quite a long time. Please, Eddie, finish this. Please don't add any more nonsense to the mix on this. Safe it, it's okay.
Oh,
no, he failed it! No!
Nevermind comes to the finish.
Nevermind's crashed as well. Oh no!
With an amazing time of 1:16.9.
Please.
And with this good performance by Nevermind, he comes closer to Eddie.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I thought we could maybe be ready for the MX knockout, but I was not. I was wrong. Maybe they will take a tactical timeout now.
Both of them take a tactical timeout.
Yeah. I mean, we are on the correct map for tactical timeout, so
Yeah,
this is
exactly.
the perfect map to do it.
But will they do it is the question. I mean, they've got it this far and they've made so many mistakes and they've still not called it, so they must be very, very stubborn there. Well, I mean, if the players wish to continue the way they are doing, then certainly all for it. Let's see if we can get an idea of how they performed last time on this. So, Cap did get 2 wins on this map, but they weren't the best of times. No one managed to get a 104 out of all of these. Cap with the best time a 105.117, I believe. Eddie got a few 105.4s. Nevermind a 105.0 actually. So, I mean, all the players seem to be relatively well matched here, but it really is quite a big question as to who will take it now. I'm really not sure. I mean, obviously Cap has the advantage, but do you think he'll take it home?
Yeah, he seemed to be the fastest player when we played this map the first time. He had some good rounds. He lost in the first round a victory in the last sector, and he also failed the 4th round, but I think he won the 2nd and 3rd round. So I think he's the main favorite to close it out now. But he finds himself only on 2nd place at the moment, behind Nevermind. Wow, very risky line by Nevermind, actually. But he came through and still holds the lead to Cap. Will he deny, actually? And then he would be at... Oh. Now he loses a lot of time there, but he's still in the round, actually. Yeah, but he would be on 104 points, so it would be the comeback of Nevermind. The impossible. But yeah, now he's out. So, Cap now in the lead, so he has all the chances to finally close out this match. Just 2 drifts remaining. First drift, now go into the tight CP here, and last drift, and he makes it. Nice. So Cap goes through at the end. Nevermind are eliminated. Eddie gets 13th place overall, I think, and Nevermind 15th. So GG to Cap and Speedy for surviving.
Well, very well done there by Speedy, but yeah, I mean, that was a roller coaster at the end there. Holy crap. But commiserations to Eddie. I mean, in Nevermind, of course, they had their kind of flashes of really good performances and that, but they really needed to string it together to at least a few rounds and a few maps to give themselves a better chance. But lessons to be had going forward, and certainly a good experience for everyone to watch going on to day number 2. We will be expecting much faster rounds to be driven by the players, but otherwise than that, guys, that was Nevermind and Eddie, unfortunately, having their tournament ended right there, whereas Speedy and who was it again? Speedy and Cap will proceed further into the bracket. But as I said, that is Eddie and what's his name? Eddie and Nevermind out.